After a lengthy court battle with the ANC, the DA has regained control of the city of Tshwane after a judgment handed down by the Supreme Court of Appeal. The city has been without a mayor or a council since March and has been under the management of an administrator. Joining me now to talk about this is Gauteng DA leader Mike Moriarty. Mike, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
As I mentioned, it's been a lengthy wait to get to this judgment. What's the reaction from the Democratic Alliance to this ruling?
Well, we welcome the ruling. The fact is that the original court in Gauteng North did indicate that they agreed with us that the dissolution by Lebogang Maile of the Tshwane Council was illegal. The Constitution provides for local governments to be autonomous spheres of government, and they should be protected from the interference of a domineering province. And so we had this judgment. Unfortunately, a series of appeals by Lebogang Maile had the effect of holding up the implementation of that judgment. And what we needed from the Supreme Court today, and what we obtained today, was the immediate implementation, and so that the appeals actually do not have the effect of suspending a judgment we got in April. So what will happen from now is that the council will have to meet in order to elect a mayor and at some point also appoint an acting city manager. The council is expected to meet probably either Friday or Monday, and there will be an election in this regard.
Now, there were councillors who, for lack of a better word, were fired at this particular point because of the council being dissolved. What is their position now?
Oh, they're all councillors again, and in fact, as if they were never out of office. The judgment had the effect of setting aside the dissolution, so it was as if the council has never been dissolved. I must tell you that it's been a very trying time for these councillors. And to their credit, the majority have been serving the people of Tshwane without reward or remuneration for months. And to be able to do this under these circumstances has been an extraordinary effort, and I think they should be acknowledged for continuing to serve in these difficult circumstances. Indeed, you know, if people had difficulties under the administration, there was no one that they could turn to. There was nobody in the administration who could say, yeah, if there's a pothole that needs to be fixed, please go to this. The city had become almost entirely dysfunctional from a responsiveness point of view. And it was only these councillors who were, you know, technically, as you say, fired, but part of that dissolution, continuing in spite of what Maile had done, continuing in spite of not being remunerated or rewarded. They carried on as volunteers, and they really supported the people of the city of Tshwane. And now that they've been vindicated, they're back in office. The Speaker is back in office. The Chief Whip is back in office. They are putting together the first council meeting, and we'll see what happens from there.
Mike, of course, going back, we do know that this was brought about because of the EFF announcing that they will no longer be voting with you in key metros because of the refusal of the DA to give them Tshwane to lead. That particular environment, does it still prevail, or have you sorted out those differences with the economic freedom fighters?
Well, we've opened up discussions with all parties. We started firstly with the parties that are a part of our coalition. So the Freedom Front, the ACDP, and COPE have pledged to continue in the coalition, so that will continue. We've opened up a dialogue with the ANC, and I'm not aware that the EFF have returned our phone calls yet, but the line is open to them. What we would intend to do is to get to a council meeting. We would expect the councillors to stay in the meeting, and this was what the disruption was that caused the breakdown. They just refused to attend council meetings. The court judgment that we received actually provided that they must attend council meetings. They might form a majority between the ANC and the EFF, and that's fine. We would go into opposition. But they must attend council meetings. If they don't want to vote for whatever, an ANC candidate or an EFF candidate or any candidate, they can abstain. But they must attend the meeting, otherwise they are in contempt of a court order. So we would expect them to attend. A mayor can get elected without the votes of every single councillor. All that there needs to be is a simple majority of those councillors that do vote. And if the rest happen to abstain, that is not an issue.
Now, of course, the other big issue that created the standoff, the ANC would tell you, was that they wanted the speaker to recuse herself in as far as the appointment of the city manager. I think that's what the argument was, if my memory serves me well. And they accused the speaker of bias.
No, look, there's no evidence of bias, but I suppose if you want your way, which is what they wanted, and you're not getting your way because the speaker applies the rules, you either abide by the rules, or if you are of the view that the speaker has actually acted illegally, you can go to a court. And so, there were remedies available to them, firstly via the council's systems. They didn't use any of those. They could have gone to court. They didn't go to court. They just wanted to be disruptive. And it was with one aim in mind, and that was to bring down the council so that they could have fresh elections. But that was, quite frankly, something that there are rules, constitutional provisions provided for if you want to dissolve a council. None of the constitutional requirements to have a dissolution were met. If you're going to do these things, by all means do them if you can do them legally. But if you've got no basis, no grounds, you've got to accept the democratic will of the people, even if it means that you are in a situation which you're in an opposition and you get frustrated.
So the DA then insisting that Speaker Mateba will still be the Speaker, and she's still going to follow the same processes that she was insisting on following when she was still on that chair.
Yes.
Talk to me then about what the court ordered as far as the costs are concerned.
Yeah, well, the court took a very dim view of what had gone on. They'd obviously noted that there was a failure by the provincial government to use the mechanisms available to them. There were ways and means of arranging things through an ethics committee. There were ways and means of applying the code of conduct. They did none of that. They went straight to the route of dissolving the city of Tshwane. And because they'd actually flagrantly disregarded all of the other opportunities that they had, the court sought to penalize that activity and award costs against it.
Is it your view that the MEC for Govt Lebogang Maile should be personally held to account for the legal costs?
Absolutely. I mean, we hear through private conversations that we have from individuals within the ANC that Maile is, to a large extent gone rogue. He may enjoy the support of his Secretary General, Mr. Makashule, but beyond that, the majority view, as we understand it, of the ANC's Provincial Executive Committee was to not pursue the route that Mr. Maile did. But I think Mr. Maile is too big for his boots. I think he would deserve to be penalized in some way. He should actually pick up the tab. I think it's wrong that taxpayers have to foot the bill for these kind of arrogant, high-handed, power-grabbing actions that he has done. So I think taxpayers should express themselves on this, not me. So I would welcome, what the view of your viewers would be, whether or not they think that he should fit the bill. But I think that the Premier has an opportunity here to show whether or not he is interested in good governance. He should actually look at the actions and the activities of his MEC and fire his MEC. I don't believe that for 1 minute that Mr. Lebogang Maile is fit for purpose of the office that he holds.
All right, DA leader in Gauteng, Moriarty, appreciate your time and thank you for joining us here on the news feed late night. That is, of course, as the DA regains power in Tshwane. He says those appointments should be done by Friday, especially since the court has ordered that all councillors should attend council meeting and be in the room. They can vote anywhere they want. However, they should be present. Meanwhile,